Good, very early morning. This is the closing update on the very powerful frontal boundary connected with a low pressure center. Looks generally quite a lot like a cyclone in general. The storm does have a lot of cyclonic characteristics with it. As you can see here on satellite imagery, we have a obvious and large area of low pressure with a 976 millibar, and then on the east of that you can see this very large and intense frontal boundary. However, despite its substantial impacts that it's expected to bring to the Northeast USA, it's safe for certain that it is not bringing substantial impacts by any means to everybody, even though there are really major threats for so many different areas across the Northeast USA, which is now the only place that's going to have to deal with the storm as it leaves the Southeast USA. Over the course of my coverage here, I have observed very little wind. I have observed very little in the manner of heavy rain. There have been chunks of ice, though, falling off my house, so I've been hearing thumping all night. Thumping and banging. So the rain is enough to, slide it off of our metal roofs. It's louder as well, considering we just got our metal roof this summer. But suffice it to say, the conditions in interior southern New Hampshire are not very impressive. This storm for inland areas, low-lying areas, low elevation locations such as the place that I live in, it's pretty much done. However, there are areas higher areas into the mountains, Great North Woods, and coastal regions, which are seeing the more significant impacts. Where coastal regions are seeing that coastal flooding threat, are seeing the strong winds up to 60 miles per hour, and then areas in elevation, mountain ranges, areas of the Great North Woods of New Hampshire are also forecast to see winds 50, 60 miles per hour, probably already seeing that, and also on top of that, the potential for more than 12 inches of snow. But here, again, in southern interior New Hampshire, where we are not near any coastlines or any large bodies of water, where our land elevation is rather low, we're only getting winds here about 30, 25, 30, maybe a few to 35 miles per hour. The rain's not really coming down that hard. So I was hoping for a bit more for another whole documentation, but it looks like this is not our storm. Yes, there's still several more hours left of it, but it's 1:30. I said that heavy rain and 40, 45 plus mile per hour winds would start around midnight. That was an hour and a half ago. And it keeps getting pushed up. The heavy rain keeps falling apart as it heads north. Heavier bands are falling apart as they head north. The system is not able to sustain its heavy rain across the Northeast USA as much as it was originally anticipated. Entirely possible the storm may be running into a slight issue with maybe some dry air. Nonetheless, it's impressive to see on satellite. It's impressive if you're at coastlines or higher elevations, but it's not very impressive for the general region. So, the only substantial occurrence I see happening anywhere in interior southern portions of New Hampshire, Vermont, areas that are low elevation, low land elevation, and away from the coastline. Your only primary concern should be flooded roadways and flooded areas near streams and ponds, and of course, as well as the coast. The maximum concern is flooding. That will happen. We're gonna get out tomorrow or today if I have time. We're gonna do a survey of my neighborhood, and we're gonna see if the winds, presuming if the winds do pick up after I get off here and go to sleep. If they do happen to do so, which I don't think they will, considering it should have already happened, and also whatever rain we get, if it causes any flooding, we're gonna do a survey, see if there's any elevated elevation in my neighborhood creek. If any of the roads are flooded, if there are any trees down that we should be aware of, we'll find it. So, that is all. This is the concluding update. The American Superstorm. The storm, remind you, was responsible for more than 24 tornadoes as well. So the storm wasn't a complete dud for the United States. However, very dangerous, severe weather did occur today, and I'm sure everybody would rather that didn't happen. And I 100% agree with that. It's just the destruction that's been told has been very disturbing to hear about. It's not good down there. So you guys affected by those tornadoes, all the best. All my hopes. Alright. Over and out.